Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is our series in which we recap and review the Venture Brothers Season 1. This episode is going to be episode 107 actually, and it's called Ice Station Impossible. Alright, so this episode, basically it turns out to be a Fantastic Four parody in general. Which is kind of fun since the new movie's coming out this summer. And I thought that was really fun, actually. It's not the main plot. Well, there's two different things going on in this episode as usual, but just in general, as a parody of the Fantastic Four, I thought it worked really well. And I guess we should start with what actually happens in the episode. So in the prologue, we have kind of a funny action sequence featuring their version or their parody of Cobra Commander, and he's fighting Race Bannon. And I assumed it was gonna be, the fake Race Bannon, their version of Race Bannon, but
right.
I'm pretty sure that's him from
they
Johnny
said Race
Quest.
Bannon. Yeah.
I mean, he's got the white hair and the red shirt and everything. And he mentions Johnny, but we don't see Johnny Quest or anyone else in this episode.
Right.
But basically, he fights Cobra Commander. The plane crashes. Race ends up dying, which kind of strange. But he has this canister of Goliath serum, as we come to find out, and he hands it off to Brock to take care of.
You have to recover the canister.
We have it, Race. Tell me what it is.
Goliath serum.
And I guess, didn't he say Race? They know each other. Race and Brock know each other.
They'd worked together a couple of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other part of the story is Dr. Venture's in the North Pole, apparently at this ice station, which I guess is the headquarters for this Fantastic Four parody. But instead they're just like the Impossible Team or something like that.
Yeah, because he's Mr. Instead of Franklin Richards, it's
right.
Mr. Impossible.
Reed Richards, right?
Reed Richards. Yeah.
His name's just Professor Impossible.
Professor Impossible. And was it Stephen Colbert?
I didn't look it up, but it
sounds exactly like him.
It sounds.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
I'm pretty sure because I know that he does do voices later on, so it must be him. So at this ice station, Dr. Venture's not alone. He's actually there with Billy Quizboy and Pete White, who we saw them both in the pilot briefly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But here, I think since the pilot, this is the first time we're seeing them again together.
They become big characters.
Yeah, but I didn't pick up in this episode why those guys are there other than just to participate in some special think tank or
we never find out what the point of the think tank is.
So it's just some special meeting of those guys.
It should have been like they were secretly working on a cure for his family members, but he wouldn't tell them.
All right. Yeah, so we have to explain that, like Professor Impossible, he comes across as he's just like a jerk, right? But he's like a megalomaniac, like a power hungry. Well, he exerts control over the other.
Yeah,
he exerts control over the others, especially his wife. Instead of Sue Storm, it's just Sally. And instead of turning invisible, her skin turns invisible. It's kind of funny. As opposed to, like, the Fantastic Four, they do get their powers kind of accidentally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the same thing. They get their powers accidentally, but only Professor Impossible comes out well.
Yes.
So Sally, her skin becomes translucent, but just her skin, so exposing
so
all
the
the
flesh
muscles and everything,
muscles
the vessels underneath,
and her eyeballs,
which freaks Dr. Venture out.
Oh, have you frozen?
And then there's, what was his name? Cody instead of Johnny Storm, except he's in this chamber because just being exposed to oxygen ignites him and it's painful. So he's running around on fire screaming. And then there's Ned, who's the Thing.
That's Ben Grimm's. Okay,
Yeah.
Ned.
And for whatever reason...
he was slow from the beginning.
Bad man made Cody cry hurt.
I know. He didn't mean it, Ned.
Ned hurt too. Heart hurt. Body hurt.
I know, Ned.
He's like mentally handicapped. That's what they say or something.
He's mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
Sally throws down the R word.
She does.
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh my God! I just heard it, and I guess
I don't know why. First she calls him mentally handicapped, and then later she uses the R word.
She says retro. But
so this makes those three people, the other three team members, hate Professor Impossible. I mean his family.
Yeah.
And Sally, I guess, because it seems like, I don't know if she's being emotionally abused by Professor Impossible.
Definitely,
or
yes.
just browbeaten, I don't know. He
keeps her in her room all day.
She tries to have like a tryst with Dr. Venture. It doesn't really work out. But Professor Impossible catches wind of this, and he actually tries to kill Dr. Venture by stranding him out in the cold.
With no clothes.
Right, Dr. Venture's apparently this suit, which they are raving about earlier, which is like has a mind of its own and uses nanotechnology or whatever, can't survive in anything under 0 degrees. So it just disintegrates.
So, yeah, that was a great scene. Yeah.
I cheated on my midterms!
Oh, crap.
And I really liked, as Professor Impossible's flying him out into the tundra or whatever, they've got the plane with the open cockpit. Yeah. And he's talking to Dr. Venture, but Dr. Venture can't hear anything.
I selected you for my think tank, despite the military's protests. Gave you a chance to do some meaningful work and make a little much-needed cash at the same time.
What?
So basically, by the time he drops Dr. Venture off, he doesn't really know why he's trying to kill him.
Yeah. Oh, I looked it up. Stephen Colbert was the voice of Professor Impossible. Yeah, so Professor Impossible has already told him, like, in the most polite way that, yes, I'm going to leave you out here and you're going to die. And, yeah, Dr. Venture hasn't heard any of it. And he's still like, okay, so what are we doing out here? And then he gets left behind.
As it turns out, this Goliath serum, which Race gave Brock at the beginning, it turns out that it was created by Professor Impossible back during the Vietnam War. And if you inject a living organism with it, it turns that subject into a bomb, a time bomb. Mm-hmm. So Hank apparently gets infected because there's a leak on the canister. So Brock has to seek out Professor Impossible. So he goes to this ice station to get his help, and that's where things culminate with a conflict.
Yeah, Brock just happens to be flying by, and they just see Dr. Venture frozen, walking in the cold. So they save him
from a polar bear.
There's a polar bear.
Yeah.
I forgot about the polar bear. Brock kills a polar bear, and for the rest of the episode, Dr. Venture is wearing its skin.
And they tell everyone what's going on, and at that point, Professor Impossible, he's attacked by the others.
Yeah, because
Wait
he's
a
just gonna like shoot Hank, who's like in stage 4 of
right,
the bomb.
Right.
And so he's like, the best way is I just kill it, and just kill him, and then the bomb won't explode. But everyone's like, no, you can't shoot this little kid. And so, yeah, the other 3 members of the Fantastic Impossible Four, they tie up Professor Impossible
with himself.
With himself,
yeah.
Yes. He'd be like,
and as they're doing it, they're taking out all their emotions on him for what's happened. Yeah, he pulled out like a ray gun or something, right?
Yes.
So then everyone else works to create an antidote to cure Hank. Mm-hmm. And when Professor Impossible unwinds himself, he walks in and he's like, well, all you created was ranch dressing, not an actual
But they
cure.
had injected it into Hank, and it had seemed to work. And then Professor Impossible was like, no, this is just ranch dressing, and the Goliath serum doesn't work on humans, only animals.
So then he recalls that well, because he was going to kill Hank, right? So is it only later he recalls that it doesn't work on humans?
I don't think we really know. Like, it's possible that he was just being a jerk and it wasn't ranch dressing and they'd actually saved him. Which is what, like, the Sue Storm, character says. But then, he says, we never tested on humans. Why would we? We were just going to use ants and birds, and an elephant could take out a city.
Right. And so the episode ends with this joke, which we didn't mention. It starts early on in the episode where Professor Impossible tells Dr. Venture and Billy and Pete that they've got to submit to a drug screening. Which it doesn't really make sense
to work at the think tank. In the middle, which is like set. Okay, so it's set in the North Pole, right? Mm-hmm. But the clothes they wear can't work outside. It makes no sense,
right? It's funny in a nonsensical way, I guess.
But he's drug tested them, and Dr. Venture is just totally hesitant to do it because he knows he's on stuff.
Yeah, but I think Pete White also said he was taking something. But anyway, Dr. Venture, he actually brought with him, somehow he knew this ahead of time, and he brought with him someone else, his boy's urine. But that doesn't work because he spills it. So anyway, Sally is the one who gives him her urine that he can use to...
Her clean urine, yeah.
So at the very end of the episode, the post-credit scene is Professor Impossible is looking at the urine test, and he's like...
That's odd. Dr. Venture's pregnant?
Dr. Venture is pregnant.
And so she's pregnant with what would become their version of Franklin Richards, right? Who is a very powerful mutant.
Okay.
I think in the comic books.
I don't remember that, but okay. Well, it's kind of... Well, I'm not sure what the timeline is there, but Sally's been trying to leave him and trying to hook up with Dr. Venture, basically so they can run off together. So I don't know. At some point she got pregnant, but
she bursts out crying, and Professor Impossible is still like, Dr. Venture's pregnant? How strange. Doesn't
kind of a sad
anything.
Ending, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
The other 3 members of the team are still stuck there.
Yep. And now she's even more stuck because now she's pregnant.
And I just remembered that Professor Impossible is in the pilot as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. But there, he's not. He was
sure
named.
If he has dialogue. I'm not sure. But just kind of neat that they brought those characters back.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, I liked the episode a lot. I liked it a lot more than the more recent episodes that we've seen, and I think that it had some laughs in there. It wasn't like a laugh riot all the way through, but I felt that the overall structure of the episode, the plot, the A and B, and just that, the Fantastic Four parody was really nice or cleverly done in there. So I was assuming it was going to be just a total Johnny Quest parody, but no, it just turned out to have that thing at the beginning and was a Fantastic Four parody. So the whole Johnny Quest thing is coming at some point, I think.
Right.
So rating wise, I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say 7 or an 8. I really liked, every time we got to see a different version of their Fantastic Four, and it was more horrible than the last. What was their version of the Thing, Ned? Was he just like, it wasn't rock, it was just like fleshy skin?
Solly said he was a callus.
Oh, so his whole body is just callus, covered in a callus?
I guess.
Oh,
it is
God,
gross,
yeah. He would kept complaining, my body hurt, my skin hurts.
All right, so if you're saying 7 or 8, then I'm gonna make that a 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. All right.
Yeah. All right, so that was episode 7, Ice Station Impossible. Thanks for watching.